Greetings once more. This is Chief Kalanago Flying Eagle with another lesson. This is lesson 8. We are going to dive a little bit into who the Melungeons are, right? Now, I'm giving you a broader perspective on his story. That's what I'm doing. So you may always ask, well, what is the relevance? Or how does this pertain to Whitey Kubuli? The people of, misnomed, Dominica misnomed, right? It's important because, my purpose, like I said, is to create reasonable doubt in all what we were taught to prove and show to you that these things they were lies and we were not taught the entire truth. So we're going to dive a little bit into the Melungeons and see who these people were. Once again, I put the link in the description for you so you're able to do your own independent reading. Okay, so we're going to dive right into this. This channel was created only for educational purposes. All right, so all the views and information that's on this channel, it could be researched, and I strongly suggest and recommend that you do your own independent reading and on your own research. So let's get into this. The Melungeons. Okay, let us read. Reading is fun for the mental. That's what they said, right? Here we are. And the book is called When Scotland Was Jewish. So I'm going to show you who a lot of the Sephardic Jews that actually came into the Americas. All right, so let's dive into the Melungeons. The Melungeons, our story begins with an ethnic group to which both authors belong. The Melungeons are a people who have been dwelling in the Appalachian Mountains of the southeastern United States for between 300 and 500 years. Okay, now let's look at this. Between 300 to 500 years. Okay, let me get my calculator real quick because I really want to let this thing make an impression on your mind. All right, I don't want to just be out here just giving you information just because. No, I want to give you information so you could logically think for yourself. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to, in fact, you know what? Forget that. I'm going to go on online calculator. Let me use an online calculator because I want you to see this for yourself. Online calculator. Because I want you to see this for yourself. I don't want to tell it to you. I want to show it to you. Okay? Because this is seeing is believing, right? So let the eyes see. So online calculator. So these people have been in the Appalachian in the Appalachian Mountains, that comes all the way down from Canada, all the way to Mississippi, right? That's called Appalachian. Now you have east, west, different parts of the Appalachian, but we're talking about the eastern portion of the Appalachians. So we're talking about in 2023, right? In 2023, we're gonna minus 500, that equals to we're looking at 1523. So we're looking at early as 1523, the year 1523 in the Gregorian calendar. These people were already in the Americas. Now, once again, I'm going to prove to you that these people did not come here on slave ships. Okay? Because slavery hadn't started yet. You feel me? So, like I said, man, I could just create reasonable doubt in all the lies we were taught. All right? But yet still, these people were already in the Americas. You know why? Because when the Moors ruled Spain for 711 years, and they lost their reign in 1492, and a lot of them were expelled. And actually the Moors, then you had the Sephardic Jews, and they were being expelled from Europe, particularly, you had Portugal, you had Gibraltar, all these different places, right? Grenada, etc., etc. Okay, so with that being said, when they were being expelled, a lot of them made deals with the crown and said, hey, we know of a world that you don't know about. Guess what they were talking about? They were talking about the Americas. So it were people of color who brought the crown into the Americas in 1492. Hence the voyage of Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was a so-called black Spaniard. All right. And then when they came here and they mixed in, the first meaning of mulatto, it had nothing to do with pale-skinned people. A mulatto was literally someone mixed with a dark-skinned European and an Amerindian or American Indian. That was mulatto. And eventually it changed, okay, to what you call a so-called white and so-called black. But mulatto was not always that. Mulatto was just a mixed breed, a hybrid, a mongrel, so to speak. That's what they would call them back in the days. Not that I'm insinuating that's what they are. I'm just letting you know that's what, when it was the term, when it was termed or coined, that's what it meant. Okay, so we're talking about in 1523. Slavery did not even start yet, because the first slaves in the Americas were American Indians. They were enslaving the indigenous people of the Americas and taking our people to Europe and different parts of Asia as well. All right. Like I told y'all before, I'm going to teach y'all the truth. Let us go back to the book when Scotland was Jewish. Let's go back to that book and read. Reading is fun for the mental. All right. So we're looking at about the early 1500s. Let's read this over. All right. Our story begins with an ethnic group to which both belong. The Melungeons are a people who have been dwelling in the Appalachian Mountains of the southeastern United States for between 300 and 500 years. Their origins have been subject of intense speculation for at least 3 centuries. All right. Typically, they are described as having dark skin, black or dark brown, straight hair, brown eyes, or blue eyes. Okay? So that's why I tell people, man, when you are reading his story, you have to know the truth. You have to. It's imperative that you know the truth. Let's read these people's description again. Typically, they are described as having dark skin, black or dark brown straight hair. Okay? We are not talking about the 9 ether hair. We are talking about the 8 ether hair. So we are talking about someone who kind of looked like an East Indian. All right? Like an East Indian with gray eyes and blue eyes. All right? Those people were being taken, or they came into the Americas. And then when you get into what you call the 1800s, those were the people you started seeing as the Native Americans because they had darker skin. And then all of a sudden, in 2023, you realize that the Native Americans, they became lighter and lighter, and they start looking so-called white or pale, because it was a transition of getting rid of the original people who were people of color. Us, we are the original people. And the goal was to whitewash. There's a saying, kill the Indian, but save the man. And I will show you guys that as well. But let us read this description once more. Typically, they are described as having dark skin, black, brown, straight hair, brown or blue eyes, and of what? European features. Now, when you hear European features, you are actually thinking of pale people. No, pale people are not the original Europeans. The original Europeans are people of color. Okay? They are people of color. Let's read just a little more. A popular culture book written by self-identifying Melungeon N.B. Kennedy, 1996, renewed interest in investigation of the group origin and simulated an abundance of scholarly research. A detailed biogenetics study undertaken by the present author supported what Kennedy had earlier proposed. The Melungeons were in large part of what? A Sephardic, Jewish, and Moorish community that began as early as 1540 with the Seto expedition to the southern United States. My brothers and sisters, the Seto was a so-called black Spaniard. These people were dark-skinned people that came here and fought our ancestors. Okay? We are talking about the Spanish expedition. The composition of the community was augmented over the intervening centuries by incoming Sephardic Jews and Moors who found refuge with such stations as Low Countries, Germany, France, Italy, Greece, and England after fleeing the Iberian Peninsula due to what? Religious persecution. Because why? After they lost their rule, after they lost their reign, a lot of them were being persecuted because if they did not convert to Christianity or Catholicism at that point, they would be persecuted, they would be burnt to the stake. And the truth be told, a lot of them, a lot of women, those Sephardic Jews and Moors, they burned their children. They burned their children because they did not want their children to be Christianized. You see, people don't know the truth. Well, the majority, I'm not going to categorize everybody because I don't want it to come off, come off like I'm the only one who know the truth. Now, there are people teaching the truth, but I'm one of them that have been doing it for over 20 years. And I go into detail. All right. So I'm saying all that to say is what we were taught is a lie. Okay. And these people always knew of America. It wasn't a discovery, it was a rediscovery because we have been doing commerce with these people for a very long time. But the average individual or the layman or their subjects were not taught of those things. All right. The original Egypt was in America. And everybody would come to the original Egypt for knowledge. That's facts. Okay. So let me see if I can read a little more. One of the factors delaying accurate ethnic identification of the Melungeons was that several carried Scottish or Scots-Irish surnames, such as Caldwell and Kennedy, and had immigrated to the American colonies from Scotland or Northern Ireland during the 1600s and the 1700s. Since the conventional view was that were extremely few Jews living in, give me a second, living in either Scotland or Ireland prior to the early 1800s, this seemed to be an anomaly. Had the original surnames been altered or anglicized to help Melungeons blend with surrounding Scotch, Irish, and English settlers, right? So what they would do is they would change their names. Some of them even bleach out their skin. All right. I mean, man, listen. You have to know the story of both Europe and the Americas in order to put the pieces of the puzzle together. All right. So why is all this important? The purpose of this video, once again, is to broaden your scope of knowledge. So when you realize that they lied in so many other areas, then it begs the question, why didn't they lie? You know what I'm saying? Or what would not make me think they lied about the story they told us in Dominica and about the slave trade? You see what I'm saying? Because these people did not come here as slaves, but they were dark-skinned people. They came from Europe. So that's the story that we're being told, but that's not true. Because what they did was Africa, well, I'll break that down in another video because I don't want to go too far. All right, I don't want to go too far. I'm only going to focus on the Melungeons in this video to show you that these people were coming all over the Americas, okay, and mixed in. Even the French trappers, the Huguenots, came into the Americas and mixed in with the indigenous women because, like I told y'all before, we had a matrilineal system where the inheritance was passed down through the woman. So they would marry the women, and when they have children with the women, then and only then their children would be heir to the land. Even Pocahontas was a woman of color. And I'm going to show and prove that again in documents. All right, we just getting started. We just getting started. So go ahead, do me a favor. Like, share these videos. Let us build the subscription base, right? Because I want the people of Whitey Cooley to learn the truth. Learn the truth so we could find a newfound love for our country, our birthright. Okay? So we'll fight more for what we know is ours. And that's one of my main reason for enlightening the people, teaching the truth. Y'all have a great continuation. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.